Hey, folks, this is Rogue One Radio, and this is episode number 30. I am one half of your team, Steve, and with me, as always, is Charlie. How's it going, Charlie?
It is absolutely fantabulous.
Great, great. So, if you go to our YouTube channel, and if I can find a link for some of you folks, I'm going out on Twitter to put that up there for them. So what's been going on with you this week?
Oh, still a whole lot of work. It's a short week for me this week. Today was my last day of work, and so I have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off paid, and then get Saturday, Sunday off, and then report back to work for the next week. So they're trying to cram as much work in as possible within the last couple of days. So I've been busy doing that. I got to finally got to play my daughter's boyfriend in Madden online, and that was a lot of fun. First time that we were able to do that. So we had to cut the game short after 3 quarters because I had to do some cooking. But he was up by 5 points, but I just intercepted the ball when the timer went off, so I had to get stuff out of the oven. So we'll have to continue that one here in a little while. Been doing a little bit of reading here and there on a lot of Star Wars backstory things, trying to guess and figure out where they could be going with the new events coming up since Mando has finished season 2, and then just posting on Twitter, getting ready for the book releases that are coming up here soon. That's pretty much what I've been doing this week. How about you?
Yeah, not much of anything else on my end either. Before I get into what I've been doing, I just want to welcome Kat to the chat. And first time she's been in the chat with us, so it's good to have you. So I haven't really done much. I've been working. I finished all of my reading. I finished Resistance. Well, we already talked about that one, the Resistance book.
Yeah.
I finished From a Certain Point of View, and I actually haven't started anything else because I wasn't sure if I'd be able to finish it before before the new releases come out. I'm really excited about those.
Right.
I did read a few of the stories from the original From a Certain Point of View. Just kind of went back and read some of those just randomly. Now I have read some comic books. I read the new what just released. I read something that just got released. It wasn't Bounty Hunter. It wasn't Dr. Aphra.
Did they release a new Vader one yet?
I don't think so.
Oh, I wasn't sure. We kind of talked about that a little bit earlier today in our show prep, but I hadn't. I wasn't sure if they've how many more they've released since that arc, and I don't really read too many comic books. But while we're on the comic book thing, if you would remind me, and I'm sure anybody else that's listening in that doesn't, because you read all your comic books online, right?
Yeah, I write them digitally through a program or through a website called Comixology.
Okay, awesome.
It's pretty easy. Just you don't have to worry about missing something. Oh, you know what? It was the new Darth Vader that I just read. Number 8 just came out. and he is still on Mustafar,
Oh, okay.
fighting Ochi.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, Kat, those certain point of view books are really good. You should check those out. If they are the only thing you are reading, you should be able to get through them pretty quick. It took me forever because I was reading multiple books at once. So that tends to slow you down. But yeah, definitely check them both out. But of course, it's not necessary that you read one before the other.
That's
good
cool.
stuff there, though. But so today we've got, of course, we've got the discussion about the season finale of The Mandalorian. A little sad about that, that it is the end. But we'll be talking about that one. It's called The Rescue. We do have some news to talk about. It's kind of a slow news week, so there wasn't a whole heck of a lot to talk about, but we found some stuff. And then later in the show, we won't be doing our top 5 list. We're actually going to be doing a little bit of discussion about the sequel trilogy in general, just kind of some customer or listener engagement that we took, got involved with earlier this week. So looking forward to that too. So the first segment is going to be our news segment, but before we do that, of course, we have got a song to play for you. Let me check my song list and see which one we're playing first. Okay, so the first song we are playing is from a band from Los Angeles, California. They are called Bad Cop. It's an all-girl band. Really good group of girls. They're good musicians as well as really nice people. They put out an album back in, I want to say June, that was called The Ride. And this is a song from that album called Certain Kind of Monster. So here it is. If I can get it to work.
Can you live with yourself? You're the one that makes them think farewell. Left your compassion up high on a shelf. You're the cause of them living a personal hell. How can you justify destroying all their lives when all they want to do is thrive? So take them away from all their families. Give them another chance to stay alive. It takes a certain kind of monster to force someone out of their home. Will you wake up and join the resistance or deny them their existence? You don't have to sing so low just because you've been told. Tell me, how can you get through your day knowing that you're involved in the race? Unlawful rules you don't have to obey. The choice is yours to make. Let's hope it's not inhumane. The panic in their eyes, they're screaming from their cries, detaining dreamers on the rise. They live in constant fear, danger is always near. They want a chance to survive. It takes a certain kind of monster to force someone out of their home. Will you wake up and join the resistance or deny them their existence? You don't have to sing so low just to do what you're told. Don't call people illegal when they turn nothing wrong. Don't call people illegal when they've been here all along. Don't call people illegal when they turn nothing wrong. Don't call people illegal when they've been here all along. Don't call people illegal when they done nothing wrong. Don't call people illegal when they've been here all along.
All right, that was Certain Kind of Monster by Bad Cop, Bad Cop.
I like that one. That was good.
That's good. They're good. They're a good band. This is their. I want to say this is their second full length album. Really nice girls, and they make some good music, good stuff. All right, so it is news time. Beep 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 beep. So what we've got to talk about first is we've got some new announcements as far as Disney Plus Marvel shows that are officially supposed to arrive next year. So really looking forward to the new MCU shows, and we know these will be in 2021, barring any any bad things that might happen in 2021, although we hope not. Kicking off the year, of course, is going to be WandaVision. We all knew that was coming in January. After that, in March, we get the release of Falcon and Winter Soldier. And then in May, we will be getting the Tom Hiddleston led Loki show. Mm-hmm. Speaking of May, we're supposed to finally get the theatrical release of Black Widow as well. But back to TV. Let me see. There isn't an actual date, but it's supposed to be later in the summer. Probably means August, I'm guessing. Is the animated What If TV show. Another theatrical release, actually, now that I think about it, is supposed to be coming out in July, and that is the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yeah.
And then the only other theatrical release we got coming out in 2021 is the movie that was supposed to be out this year, was Eternals. And that is scheduled to come out in November. But the last two TV releases don't have exact dates. They the article, which I got from Polygon.com, says that they're targeting late 2021, and that is going to be Miss Marvel and Hawkeye. So really looking forward to some MCU on Disney Plus. And I think there was an article recently. Kevin Feige basically all but said, "Hey, RFB is with us. Hey there, RFB." But Kevin Feige had mentioned that more or less the future of the MCU is streaming.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of that coming back in.
Yeah.
So we've got the Disney Plus, and then what do we have? What else do we have in news?
Well, just I was going to mention that Kat said in the chat that she's really excited for WandaVision, and yeah, that really looks awesome as well. I love the teasers that they've put out for it. I can't wait to see how they pull it together, because I really enjoyed those two characters. it's just the idea of them two being together it just hits me right in the feels. So, I can't wait for that. But for other news that we have and I'm not sure how much of a news this is or more of a rumor, but rumor is that in Star Wars land, we could possibly be getting a Luke Skywalker Star Wars series that is currently in development. So
based on the article that I ran across, the article that I got was from StarWarsNews.net, StarWarsNewsNet.com rather.
Mm-hmm.
Or wait a minute, is that where I got that? You know what? I don't know where I got that news from.
Well, I've seen it a few places. The one that I have pulled up right now is boundingintocomics.com.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying that a rumor claims that Luke Skywalker himself has a series that is in development.
Okay.
I don't want to get into too much detail because I'm sure we'll get into a little bit later. But
for sure.
it just says that there seems to be just in development right now. There are a lot of projects that are in development, and again, are we going to get a de-aged Mark Hamill? Are we going to get the fan favorite Sebastian Stan? Could they go another way with it? We really don't know yet. I mean, the rumor mill I've heard was that Sebastian Stan has even made appearances at I can't remember what they call the facility where they shoot it, but he's been there. But they're also filming Falcon and Winter Soldier, so he might have just stopped by.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a pretty cool idea if they're going to do it. Which Luke Skywalker are we going to get to see? Will we get to see an older Luke and then go back to a flashback of a younger Luke, kind of like what they did in Rise of Skywalker? When you see the younger Luke training Leia. Who knows? But anything with Luke Skywalker, I think that the Star Wars fans are definitely going to eat it up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, even if they did it as an animated series, it could be really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of Disney Plus shows that were not announced at the investor show, this one has been confirmed. So this is not a rumor. And of course, it's been confirmed if you've watched the most recent episode of Mandalorian. So if you haven't, I want you to remember that this is very spoiler heavy as far as this show goes. So if you have not seen the last episode of Mandalorian, you probably want to check out for a minute and come back after you've watched it. But this was confirmed not only by the show, but also by I think Disney themselves, and that is the standalone Boba Fett series, the Book of Boba. I'll tell you, we'll get more into this when we get into our discussion about that season finale. But I'll just leave it at I'm really excited for this show.
Absolutely.
We've got two more additions to the chat, by the way. We've got Rez and I think it's Michelle from Force of Light have come to visit. So welcome,
one and all.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, Book of Boba Fett. I'm really excited about that, and yeah.
Well, we've heard rumors about this for quite a while now, ever since that we saw the armor and what it could mean. And I know that RFB and I have gone back and forth on whether or not, until he made the appearance, on whether or not that he had actually perished. So it's going to be interesting. From the look of it, I think that they'll take right after or where they're left off now, rather than do a backstory. Is going to be my guess. But I mean, who knows? I mean, there's a lot of stories to tell there, and for one of the most popular characters, I know a lot of people are really excited about this.
Yeah. I mean, I could see them probably doing like some flashbacks, maybe digging into the story a little bit about how he got out of the Sarlacc pit. But yeah, I'd actually like to see a little bit more about him and Fennec Shan and their adventures. And
yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of Fennec Shan, I think you've got another piece of news.
Yes, I do, and this might be the one that you were thinking of. That was on Star Wars Newsnet. And it is that Ming-Na Wen confirmed that she is going to reprise her role in Star Wars: The Bad Batch.
Yeah.
So that's going to be cool to see that character, that arc really get expanded in a great way. And I know that the Bad Batch is going to be an animated thing, so she will lend her voice to it. But still, it's an interesting character that really intrigues me. I was surprised to see her come back in season 2. But the more that I saw, the more I just was like, wow, yeah, I really want to dig into more stories about this character. And for me, it's like many that are in our chat, that it's all about the stories. Just tell us good Star Wars stories, and we're going to be happy. We'll just eat it up.
Absolutely. Just give me Star Wars, and I'll be happy.
Absolutely.
So speaking of Star Wars stories, we do have an official, more or less, release schedule for the High Republic. So everybody's really, I know if you're like me and like Charlie, you're really excited that this High Republic series is going to be kicking off, and we are, as I was telling him earlier before we got things started tonight, we are 2 weeks away from the release of some High Republic material. January 5th, we are getting Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule, A Test of Courage by Justina Ireland, and then we also have a young reader book coming out on January 5th by Kevin Scott called The Great Jedi Rescue. Now on January 6th, we have the first issue of the High Republic comic book, also written by Kevin Scott. So definitely looking forward to that. On February 2nd, which is my birthday, so this is going to be a great birthday present for myself, Into the Dark by none other than Claudia Gray hits the shelves. Oh my gosh, that's going to be so good. Later in February, on the 21st, the next comic book comes out. It's called The High Republic Adventures, and that'll be written by Daniel Jose Older. And then on June 29th, we have The Rising Storm coming from Kevin Scott. And then later in the year, in July and August, we have 3 untitled projects slated for release. So next year is going to be a huge year for us Star Wars reading nerds.
Oh, absolutely. I just pre-ordered the audiobook for the first one on the 5th. With the Amazon Prime, you get the free book on Audible, and that was my selection for this month. So I really can't wait. I believe they even had an excerpt from it, like the first couple of chapters or so. Maybe the first 8 chapters, and I read it and I was like, wow, oh man, I really can't wait to dig into this. This is going to be absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So you folks in the chat, which book are you most looking forward to? And we can come back to that. Which one are you most looking forward to, Charlie?
Oh man. I mean, all of them would be the first answer. But
good answer,
man. I really, I'm still stuck on Claudia Gray, and this is something I think that we'll have a show about probably here pretty soon, and about Lost Stars, and how much I just absolutely loved that book. And I've really enjoyed everything that she's written so far for Star Wars. So I would like I really want to read that one. And then Kevin Scott. I really want to see what approach he's going to take to this High Republic area. I really liked the way that he did Dooku Jedi Lost. And I don't think he's going to go back to that well, but I really enjoy his writing style. So yeah, those are probably the two. But again, Charles Soule is going to write a fantastic book. There, Justina Ireland. I really enjoyed her stuff in the past. There's just so much to be excited about. It's really hard to pick one.
I agree. All of them are going to be great. I know they pick their authors really well for these books. But if I had to pick a couple of favorites, I'd really, the first one that comes to mind, I really got to go with the Charles Soule book, because he's kicking things off.
Yeah,
he is bringing us into this new era, and I'm just no words how excited I am to learn about this new era in Star Wars. But aside from that one, definitely the Claudia Gray book, because everything I've read of hers, and I haven't even read all of her Star Wars stuff. I've read quite a bit of it, but everything I've read has just been phenomenal.
Yeah.
So good stuff. As I showed up on the video there, Force Light is excited for the Claudia Gray book, and as well you should be. So we only have one more piece of news, and it's I mean, I'm sure most of you have already heard about it. But why don't you go ahead, Charlie, and it is more kind of a somber note.
Yeah. This past week, we had another Star Wars legend pass away. Jeremy Bulloch, who played everyone's favorite bounty hunter, Boba Fett, passed away at age 75. Man, it's... I know he was not only was the character a fan favorite, but the actor as well was a huge fan favorite. Just reading some testimonials of people that have met him either at conventions or just wherever was nothing but glowing praise and idolization of his character. So that speaks volumes. He really touched a lot of people. So it's sorry to hear that.
We're going to miss you, Jeremy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So that is it for news. Coming up, we've got the recap of Chapter 16 of The Mandalorian, The Rescue. But before we do that, of course, we have another music break. This one is from a band from New Jersey called the Hudson Falcons. Really good bunch of guys there, especially their front man, Mark. He's just a really all-around good guy. Like I said, they're from New Jersey. This is from an album they put out, an older one back in 2001. The name of the album is For Those Whose Hearts and Souls Are True. And this song is called Stay With Me. So here it is.
I shuffle down the street, eyes are on my feet. I got no place to go. I try to reach a wife, I end up getting high. I'm drinking more than it shows. I stare into the TV screen, but every face reminds me of a girl. I never used to be so mean, but I can't bear to face my shattered world. You just ain't fair to this Romeo. I fell apart when I watched you go. Baby, 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 my heart is calling, won't you stay with me? My heart is calling, won't you stay with me? The stars I used to shine, but now my tears are blind. The fun we used to have, and now I twist and turn, my memories they burn. I don't know how to laugh. I try to make a social scene, but I get drunk and turn into a fool. And then I start to fight because I'm only half the man I was with. You said we'd never walk till we die. Why didn't you stop when you heard me cry? Baby, 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 my heart is calling, won't you stay with me? My heart is calling, won't you stay with me? Won't you stay with me? Heart's calling, won't you stay with me? Heart's calling, won't you stay with me?
All right, that was Stay With Me by the Hudson Falcons. If you're just tuning in, you are listening to Rogue One Radio. I am Steve. With me is Charlie. This is episode number 30. And we are ready to talk The Mandalorian. So we had...
Sort of.
unfortunately, the last episode of the season. And we knew it was going to be epic, as we've said on the show several times, just based on how they ended the first season. So epic we wanted, and epic we got. It was it was quite the ending to the season. So before we go into our synopsis, how about your kind of your overall reaction? Just what you thought of it in general.
First reactions were, oh my goodness. Am I really seeing what I'm seeing? Followed by, I have so many more questions. Followed by, what's next? So, yeah.
All right. So the question is, who here in the chat, you included, Charlie, who here teared up during this episode at least once?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will admit that.
Oh my gosh, that episode was mind-blowing.
Twice the first time, and the other 2 times that I saw it was just once.
Yeah, it was quite the emotional episode. It was crazy. Crazy stuff. It was great. I think I have seen it. I think I've watched it 4 times. At least 3 that I know of. Probably 4. Yeah, Kat says she bawled like a baby every time she watched it. So understandable. That was RFB 2. Yep. Very emotional show. So here's what we got. I'm going to be brief here. So it starts off. Mando and Boba Fett walks into a bar. Starts off like a joke. So they're walking to this bar, and Bo-Katan and Casca are sitting there. They come in asking for help to rescue the child. There's a little scuffle between Fett and Casca. That gets broken up by Bo-Katan, like the angry mother. Then at that point, the group, they agree to. Bo-Katan agrees to help in exchange for number 1. She wants Mando to help them along with their cause, and she wants the dark saber. He agrees.
Mm-hmm.
So the group, who at this time consists of Mando, Boba Fett, Fennec Shan, Cara Dune, Bo-Katan, and Casca, get together and they plan the rescue. Then they fly off. They get to the Moff Gideon's cruiser. And they board it an interesting way. Then the group splits up. Boba flies off by himself. Then the rest of the group, they split up. Mando goes after Grogu, tries to find the detention area, and the rest of the group head off toward the bridge to find Moff Gideon. So after, as far as the Mando goes, after a brief fight with the Dark Troopers, and then he shoots them out the airlock, he finds Grogu's cell, only to find Moff Gideon standing there with the Darksaber. There's a conversation, then they have a fight, which Mando wins, and then he shows up on the bridge where the rest of the group has been, and they talk about the Darksaber. Mando wants to give the Darksaber to Bo-Katan, which I have a question about. We'll get to that though.
Yeah.
And then the Dark Troopers show up. Outside. They make it to the door of the bridge, and then of course they are defeated, just laid to waste by this mysterious person in these dark robes, who of course turns out to be Luke Skywalker. So after, a little brief tearful goodbye between, I don't know if it was tearful for them, but tearful for us, goodbye between Grogu and Mando, Luke takes Grogu and leaves the ship. And that's what we get. And then in great MCU fashion, we get an after credit scene, which I'm going to admit I did not. The first time I watched the show, I didn't see the after credit scene. I did not know it was there. My son, Joey, as you know, he's been on the show before, watched it and asked if it was either him or somebody else asked if I saw the after credit scene. And I'm like, not what? There's an after credit scene? All right, I got to go watch it again. So instead of just watching the after credit scene, I just watched the whole thing through. And then, of course, the after credit scene we get is Boba Fett walking into the palace formerly held by Jabba the Hutt, and who I'm assuming is Bib Fortuna, sitting on the throne, and Boba takes him out and then sits on the throne himself, which leads us to the book of Boba Fett coming next year.
Yeah.
So, how to dissect this show? It was one heck of a show. I do have a question that I need to ask that maybe you guys can help me out on. It's regarding the Darksaber. So Moff Gideon tells them that in order for her to take the Darksaber, she has to win it in battle.
Right.
And she agrees. My question is, and it's been a bit since I've watched Star Wars Rebels, but didn't Sabine give her the Darksaber?
Yes.
So there was no battle there. So what's the explanation?
That they really didn't get into, other than just the look. And I'm not sure. My first hypothesis is it had to do with the way that Moff Gideon got the Darksaber from Bo-Katan.
Okay.
So my guess is that, and I'm sure we'll probably get this in season 3, but or possibly more of an explanation. Since Gideon was there, if she told him that the only way to get it was through combat, and he ended up besting her for whichever, then that could explain it. Because in Rebels, yes, Sabine she had approval from everyone to hand it over, and Bo-Katan accepted it, and that was that. She was the leader. Everyone agreed that she was the leader. Din doesn't want the Darksaber. I'm really, and I mentioned this to you in our chat leading up to this, was I'm really getting a Game of Thrones vibe off of this. In Game of Thrones, which I believe you said you haven't seen.
Yeah, never actually seen it.
So you have this leader that grows up that doesn't think that he's the leader, and is suddenly revealed that he is the actual heir to the throne and the leader. And I'm wondering if they're going to pull something like that into this, where it's like the Jon Snow effect, and trying to figure out the best way to describe it. He's unwilling to take it, but will reluctantly do so. So are we going, and especially with the way that it ended and Grogu going with Luke, are we going to get a season of The Mandalorian where we're not going to get too much Grogu, but we're going to see more of the reuniting and their reestablishment of Mandalore?
I'd be okay
And
with that.
with instead of Bo-Katan at the helm, it ends up being Din Djarin. I'm not sure. That's one way that I could see it going. It was just really interesting. As soon as they said, you have to win it in combat. Yes, that was the original way of thinking before Rebels.
Yeah.
With when Pre Vizsla made it, and the way it was handed down, but then when Sabine handed it over
to her, I was like, okay, well,
yeah, and she's like, oh, I can't take it. You have before, why not now? And that just made the alarms go off in my head. So I mean, and who knows? I mean, the Game of Thrones made a whole lot of money and was a very successful show. If they decided they wanted to go that route, I have no problem with that. I'm just, it'd be more speculation for the future of if that's what they're going to do. What are they going to do with Grogu?
No, I don't want to give away everything, so I guess we'll find out in. Well, at this point, I guess we're going to find out in 2022.
Right. That was just announced that because of Book of Boba, they are going to push production back on Mandalorian to early 2022. So, that's going to be interesting. I don't know. What other? Did you have anything that really stuck out as far as before we get to the end part? Say before the big reveal there. What else? Anything else that kind of stood out to you that you were excited for?
I was. I kind of enjoyed the fight between Boba Fett and Casca.
Yeah, that's number one on my list.
I thought that was a good way to introduce Boba Fett to the the actual Mandalorians.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good. I gotta say I was a tad disappointed that Boba was not a part of the rescue mission, other than the shooting at their ship, the Wanda class shuttle. He got him in and then just disappeared. I understand why he did it. I just would have liked to have seen him as part of the actual rescue mission. But really, as far as standing out, I got to say the highlight of the show was when we saw the X-Wing. That one X-Wing. And from that point, I was like, no, they're not gonna. No, it's not him. And then he comes through the hallway and it's like, they're really doing this. Yeah, they're really doing this, because the first thing you see is the green lightsaber. Then you see his hand, and it's like they're really going this way,
right?
And then the thing that really, like, from that point, I mean, I knew who it was going to be, but it was that opinion, whatever you want to call it, was solidified, strangely enough, when I saw the belt, when they zoomed in on his belt. And I was like, yep, that's his Return of the Jedi outfit. Okay. We're getting Luke. So that was that whole hallway scene, reminiscent of Vader's Rogue One scene. It was just amazing. It was just amazing.
Yeah.
And we really shouldn't be surprised at what we got, because we even said on this show that the only one that makes sense to have answered the call is Luke.
Yeah.
As far as canonically, he is the only one that would have made sense. And that's what we got.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. They could have gone. I still think they could have gone a couple of different ways. But some of my things that I enjoyed, I loved the banter at the very beginning between Boba and Casca. I thought that was great. I love seeing Bo step up as as you said, as the mother. I loved seeing the way that they, and this is more of a technical aspect, but me being a TIE fighter sort of guy, I love the way showing how the TIE fighters came out of the ship and were deployed into action. And so that was super cool to see that. And to have them land, the Dark Troopers powering up was phenomenal. And I don't know, I thought that we saw the death of Din Djarin when the Dark Trooper had his head and was just smashing it right into the wall over and over. I think it was 6 times that that he smashed his head there, and he pulled back and he was just kind of sitting there, and I'm like, wow, that was just devastating. But they managed to escape that. I almost got a like a Loki vibe between the battle of Din and Moff Gideon.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
Where he fought him for a little bit, but really wanted to be captured, and to pull the wool out, or the rug out from under Din when he tried to give the Darksaber to Bo and she wouldn't take it, and he's like, ha ha ha, now I got you, now she can't take it, now it's yours, and your whole plan is backfired, and man, I got something in store for you. And we see the return of the Dark Troopers show up, and I thought, my first thought was, all right, well, Boba is coming back. He's going to be the one that kind of rescues him. Well, I mean, as I, my first initial thought was, they'll have him come back, because I didn't think that we were going to get a reveal until like the very end, and that was going to be the cliffhanger. And so when the alarm went off, and she's like, it's a single X-wing, I'm like, oh man, all right, I know where they're going with this. It was still shocking though, because I'm sure they're saving Ezra for the Ahsoka series, but as much as they've tied into lots of other media and bringing back some of the old canon stuff, I thought, well, maybe they'll bring in Cal Kestis to kind of tie into an Order 66 kind of thing, and tie into the Fallen Order series, or I heard a big rumor that it's could be Mace Windu, that he actually survived, which we really don't know. I've heard another rumor floating around that Mace Windu is the one who saved Grogu from Order 66 to begin with. So
See,
I didn't.
I think what
didn't
they're
know where
trying
we
to
were
do
getting.
is they're trying to bridge fans of the original trilogy to the new era
Hmm.
of Star Wars, and I think that's why another reason why I think Luke would have been the right choice because they're not ready to bring those characters in yet.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah.
But speaking of the Dark Troopers, it kind of made me wonder if Katie was having any Cylon flashbacks.
Yeah. And yeah, that's I definitely got that vibe, and I was really shocked that they went with the Mark IIIs instead of a Mark II Dark Trooper, just because of with them being when we first saw them, and I was like, wow, those are Mark IIIs, and there's nobody in them; those are droids. And I'm like, why would they do that? It's because they really haven't shown too much of it. And to see them come back into the ship, I'm like, oh, well, that's the reason why they did that, because the ones with the troopers in it, they couldn't handle it. So,
Right.
it's it was great. Yes, I love the comparisons between the two hallway scenes between father and son, which I'm sure were done on purpose. But it showed the mastery that Luke has had even before Return of the Jedi, or right after Return of the Jedi. Yeah, he was accomplished, but his powers have just grown from there, and you really see it in that hallway scene. The way he's just using every bit of the Force, whether it's pushing or pulling or crushing, and the lightsabers, and it just the way that he just crushed that one trooper like a tin can, and it just kept compressing on itself, was absolutely astounding. And then of course we get the moment where you get the tearful goodbyes, and I was like, oh man, how is this going to go? What's is Luke going to pull in Ahsoka and say, I felt him, but I can't train him, or is he actually going to take him? And then when they Din and Grogu have their moment, and I was like, wow, what a way to do that. I do have some disappointments, and more questions. What happened to Dr. Preshing? We really.
I wonder about that too.
Maybe Grief Karga has him. I don't know, but it's like where something. He was there, and then next thing you know, he's not. And then
maybe at some point he gets taken to the New Republic.
Yeah. And where it's Luke came in, saved the day. Now, but what happened to Moff Gideon?
Oh, he's absolutely going to prison.
I mean, are we going? I could see. We'll probably get like a Great Escape, or some sort of other, say like Billy the Kid type, escape from him. Where and then he'll be back out on the loose. I don't know. It's but they didn't really.
Maybe our favorite Chiss will orchestrate an escape.
Very possible. I mean, man, but it just kind of left it hanging there and without too much resolution.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, RFB says that they're both the New Republic hands, and I tend to agree with them.
Yeah.
Now,
I could definitely see that. But where was Gideon going? Was he going to Camino? Was he, was he going to, somewhere else? I saw a few videos trying to pinpoint where he was, and some of it could have been to Camino. Some of it could have been to some of the Hut-controlled worlds.
Yeah.
So
maybe he was heading for the unknown regions.
Yeah. Really don't know. But hopefully we'll get to find out. Anything else that you might have been disappointed in that either you wanted to see and didn't get to see, or questions that weren't answered?
Really, I already mentioned mine. I really just wanted Boba Fett to be there for the rest of up till the end. I didn't really have any disappointments. I thought it was a great episode, compounded by the after credit scene that we got.
Yes.
And it was.
Boy, Bib Fortuna really let himself go.
Yeah, he did. Start calling him Bib Fat Tuna. I don't know. No, it was great. It was that season finale was absolutely a great ride.
Now, here's a question for you. That in the post credit scene, we had Fennec with Boba.
Yeah,
but she was on the ship there. So are we going to see? So that's that's another adventure right there. On how are we going to see them two get back together so they could go take his rightful spot, or is the end of the book of Boba Fett that scene that we got where he goes into the palace to take over fade to black, and that's your series?
That could be it.
Oh, and that would be awesome. I would love to see something like that.
I'd love to see the story of, why does he want to rule Jabba's palace anyway?
Hutt Empire, of all the money. I mean, he is a bounty hunter, so
yeah,
that's it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see where they take it.
I gotta say, as far both season 1 and season 2, they have really given the game masters of the Star Wars role-playing game a lot of stuff to play with.
Yeah.
Being a tabletop RPG guy myself with Star Wars, I can just imagine the stories that this show is boiling, making them boil in their heads. Just using this era, this was just really was a great era to put this show in. Between Jedi and Force Awakens, I would like to see some stories from the Aftermath era. But post Aftermath, post Battle of Jakku, before the First Order really gets big, this was really a good era to put a show in, and a good era to put this type of show in.
Yeah,
the scum and villainy type, because you've got Jabba the Hutt's dead. His criminal enterprise is up for grabs. So, so many people can be vying for that. You're right. RFB says so much good Star Wars storytelling. He's absolutely correct. There's just so much more to go on so much story to tell without even going into the High Republic era. We're going to get the High Republic stuff, and that's going to be great. But even aside from that, we're getting some good storytelling.
Yes. Yep.
And I got to say, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have really given us some great Star Wars.
Yeah, I agree. There was a couple of little Easter eggs in there. I don't know if you might have caught these. On Gideon's is a droid. It's a RA-7 droid. It was also known as the Death Star droid. And if I'm remembering right, and it's been a couple of days since I've seen it, I believe that it has a gold leg.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason why I bring up the gold leg is that, and I can't remember where I saw it, but C-3PO had a silver leg.
We probably saw it somewhere on Twitter.
Yeah, and I just thought that was kind of interesting. And, you know, we always want to be told a story, so that would be an interesting story to see. Probably, I would say probably like in a comic or something, where, you know, where did this leg come from, you know, and, or, you know, why does he have have that? And it's, you know, somewhere that these two met up and, or whatever. But I thought that would be pretty interesting to see. We did get a Dank Ferrick in the episode. I wasn't sure if we were going to get one or not, but we did get it when Cara Dune's gun jammed.
Yeah. Oh, that was fun too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she just starts wiping people out with the butt of the gun. That was great.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and it's funny because, you know, none of the stormtroopers can shoot, but all of the females that, you know, heroes go in there, and even if they miss and it hits somebody in the shoulder, they're down and out. So I just thought that's pretty funny how they keep that gag going.
Yeah.
There was a Luke Skywalker reference at the very beginning of the episode when Boba and Casca were trading verbal barbs, and she tells him that you'll be talking through the window of a Bacta tank. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm like, oh, well, you know, I guess I could understand that she'd beat him up that bad, but then when you see Luke, it like brings up a whole nother level, you know, meaning to it. Then you have the verbal barbs between the Gideon's guy and Cara Dune, where he's trying to egg her on, and he says, you know, I was on the Death Star. And she looks at him and says, you know, which one? And, you know, since they both got blown up, you know, it's kind of, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I think that's about it that I caught. There wasn't, you know, there wasn't a whole lot more to it. I know that once Luke showed up, the music changed. And I'm not sure if you noticed that, but once he showed up, it had more of a John Williams feel than the typical Mandalorian style that we've been used to.
I did notice that. I did.
And R2 was there.
It was a great episode. I'm glad we got what we got, and now we have to wait quite a bit until we see the next season. But we've got a lot of Star Wars content coming in 2021, so a lot of reading. We'll have the Book of Boba next year. Unfortunately, no films, but hey, we've got.
Did you catch McClunky?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny when they put that in there. I'm like, oh man, all right. Yeah, it's I'm sure that made George Lucas smile.
Yeah.
Trying to think if there was. anything
Aside from
else.
that, sorry?
I was trying to think if there was anything else about it that that I could think of that to make it interesting, or yeah, man, it's just now it's just more of a hurry up and wait, and we have so many questions, and since Luke did take Grogu, that makes you wonder, what happened to Grogu after. If he was training him and he started his academy, and was he there when Kylo came in and burned it to the ground?
Yes.
It's like there's all these years now of well, what's going to happen, and I thought that they were pretty much done telling stories in this area because they were going to shift that focus back down.
Yeah.
But so now they're fighting a Star Wars battle on two different eras, and it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so that's it for our recap of the rescue. Next up, we are going to be doing a little bit of discussion about the sequel trilogy. We went out on Twitter and asked our listeners and our followers what their favorite things about the sequel trilogy were. So we've got some of those responses to go over. You folks in the chat, you want to chime in on that, feel free. We're also I'm going to talk about the results of a poll real quick that we did as well regarding the sequel trilogy. But before that, we're going to have our final music break. This is by a band from North Carolina called Wolves&Wolves&Wolves&Wolves. And this was a single that they released back in 2018. And it is called Excommunicate Me. So here you go.
I beg for your embrace. I wish it wanted to curse you to your face, but my patience is all gone. I've got nothing left to say, and my lungs are numb for screaming out your name. I will never say another prayer again. I will never say another prayer again. Letters never come. I'm just another one of your long forgotten sons. Take away the pain, or take me as I am. My eyes are tired and I worked all I can. I will never say another prayer again. I will never say another prayer again. All I wanted was a sign of life, some proof that you might care.
All right. That was Excommunicate Me by Wolves and Wolves and Wolves and Wolves. So, the sequel trilogy. We didn't have an idea for a top 5 list, so I just thought we'd bounce this idea around and see what kind of response we got from it. And we got a pretty decent response about the sequel trilogy. The first thing I wanted to give you the results on, I did a poll on our Twitter that what was your favorite movie of the sequel trilogy, and as much as I agree with you, RFB, that all of them are my favorite, there was a pretty the one that won pretty easily with 45% of the vote. The winner of that poll was The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
Last place in the poll at 17% was The Rise of Skywalker. Now, I didn't vote on my own poll. I don't do that because I'd like to see. I do these polls to see what other people think. But you may. I'm kind of on the same lines as I like all of them. But if I had to pick a favorite, strangely enough, and I say strangely enough because a lot of people don't feel the same way, I actually, my favorite would probably be The Rise of Skywalker.
It's hard for me to pick one as well because I really enjoyed what we got. All three of them to me were, and I know they're supposed to be together, but they told three different stories.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of, and they kind of made them flow because we had some of the characters in all three, but they told individual stories rather than more of a coherent set line that we got in the original trilogy or the prequel trilogy.
Right.
And I like that. As far if I were to separate them out just in that criteria, I really liked The Last Jedi for the story that it told.
Yeah, it was a great story. It really was.
Yeah, I mean, it's I know I'm in the minority in that, but I really liked the way in the character development that they had in that section of that story they wanted to tell.
Well, so the question we put out on Twitter was, what is your favorite thing, or what are your favorite things about the sequel trilogy? And here's a few of the responses that we got. Ro, our friend from the Scare of Scuttlebutt podcast, said that his favorite thing was the feeling that the Force Awakens trailer gave him at San Diego Comic-Con. I can just imagine having been there and seeing that trailer. And then our buddies over at WSTR Media said that their favorite thing about the sequel trilogy is that family is who you're surrounded by, not bloodline. That's a good one. Of course, our friend and chat room visitor RFB, he likes that they told me a Star Wars story. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Folks at Mando Roundup, their answer was Rose Tico. So, all right. So I got to imagine their favorite movie was probably The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Because the one the one thing I can say negative about the Rise of Skywalker is we didn't get enough of her.
Yeah, I was hoping for more. I really thought that they had started a great development for that character. I just really would have loved to have finished it, but and I'm sure us as Star Wars fans wouldn't have minded if it was a 4-hour movie for the Rise of Skywalker, or even if they maybe split it into two. Is the common thing that they have been doing in modern movies.
Well, they did it with the MCU. Why can't they do it with Star Wars?
Right. Yeah, to wrap up not just one or a few loose ends, but all of them. If this was really the end of the Skywalker saga, then tie everything up in a nice little bow. And then go from there. And then if you want to make more movies similar to what they're doing with, the High Republic, then you could have separate stories and separate adventures. But a lot of people still had a lot of questions and a lot of different feelings about the way that it ended. I think that if they would have given us a little bit longer, everyone could have possibly been satisfied. Well, not everyone, but the majority.
Right. You're not going to please everyone.
No.
A few more responses. The folks at Nerf Herder Council, their response was, their favorite thing about the sequel trilogy was The Last Jedi. Just paraphrasing here, they liked that it expanded the existing lore, and that Luke's character was incredible. So definitely somebody that agrees with you regarding the Last Jedi. And I thought that movie was great, and I liked all of them. I think there is definitely a minority of people who or backing up here, it seems like there's a lot of people out there that liked one but not the other.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a minority that liked both of them. And I would say that I'm in that minority. Let's see. The next one I've got is from Mud79. Their favorite thing about the sequel trilogy was Canto Bite. The premise that the Resistance and the First Order were both pawns in the same game. And I thought it was that was a good response, because that it reminded me from The Last Jedi. It reminded me of the character DJ, who I would really I'd like to get some more storytelling about. But the conversation he had with Finn about there's really no difference between the good guys and the bad guys in this war.
Yeah. And that's we see that in real life as well. That's and it was such a powerful parallel that the real winners were the cartels that were supplying all of the resources and equipment, and it's for whoever wants to be the highest bidder, then that would be interesting stories to get too, or is to see more of that seedy underside, maybe like a whole Canto Bite series that we could get, either bounty hunters or just different cartels that we could see.
Yeah, definitely. Vader's girl, Kat, says that she really enjoyed The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, every one of these films had good things to say about it. Each one of them had flaws in their own way, but overall, they were all Star Wars stories. the last comment that I have to go over from our engagement with our followers comes from Sorta Star Wars. And I think this is a good, it was just 3 words. So the question, favorite things about Star Wars or about the sequel trilogy, the 3 words they gave were redemption, Rey, and Ryan.
Huh. Okay.
So again, somebody who, based on this, I got to imagine big Ryan Johnson fan. So big fan of Last Jedi. So when I was going over these responses, I was looking through them, and then it dawned on me, I actually had not really come up with a response myself about, what my favorite things about it was. Collectively, or even specifically, I think my favorite things were the return of Palpatine. I actually really liked that.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, I like that this was a conclusion. I like the conclusion of the saga that it gave us, while at the same time allowing it to be turned over to a new group of heroes.
Mm-hmm.
I like that it left, as much as it was a conclusion, I like that it left it open to more storytelling. Because none of the main new heroes are gone. We still have Poe, we still have Finn, we still have Rey. Whether or not they come back and do any more live action material, their stories can still be told. We can get a lot more Star Wars out of those characters.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
Kat,
hopefully we will.
Kat has said it really well. I'm gonna pop this up here. I think everyone got things from all 3 they liked, enjoyed. I have issues with some of them, but not going to bash it. And that's really I think that's the attitude that we all should have, because there's always something in each of them that you can get out of it and enjoy. So there's no point tearing down the enjoyment that somebody else is having over one of them that you maybe didn't enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah. If I were to pick, I guess, a favorite thing out of each one, Force Awakens would be just that there's, I thought Star Wars was done. I thought we weren't going to get any more other than possibly books. And so when they announced that, I was all for it, and I enjoyed it. I liked the story that they told.
Yeah.
Last Jedi, the evolution of Luke and how he got to be that way, or why he was that way, I thought was fantastic. I know a lot of people didn't like it because that wasn't the way that they pictured him, but I could definitely understand why he ended up on Ahch-To the way that he was. And then for Rise of Skywalker, of course, the best and greatest Star Wars character of all time, and I'll fight you, Palpatine returns, and it was glorious.
Yeah, I was really happy at Celebration Chicago when they revealed that Palpatine was coming back for that last one. I was overjoyed. One of my favorite characters in the entire saga, and he's coming back, and that was Celebration Chicago is where I got to meet him. So
nice,
great stuff.
Yes, long live the Empire.
Absolutely. So that about wraps it up for the show tonight. I want to thank everybody that came into the chat to talk to us. And I hope you come back for the next episode.
Bring some friends.
What's that?
Bring some friends.
Yeah, bring some friends. We can have a big discussion going on. I think we decided that next week we're going to be doing kind of a year in review type show.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to put it out to those that are listening now and those that are also in the chat. Send us your ideas for the last top 5 list of the year. Give us some ideas, and we will definitely have some good times next week talking about Star Wars of 2020. It has been a rough year for everyone, but we still got some Star Wars out of it. Quite just recently, we did our Red 5 mission kind of special edition show with the guys over at From a Certain Point of View. So make sure you go check out that episode. I did a little kind of a brief monologue, I guess you call it, where I talked about the Star Wars novels that I have read over the year. So, check out that. It's a good Red 5 mission. We talked about things from Legends that we'd like to see in canon. So make sure you check out both episodes of that show. There was we were part 2, and their podcast From a Certain Point of View, another great Red 5 podcast, was part 1. So yeah, give some time thinking about the top 5 lists. This will be the last top 5 list of the year. We're gonna have our work cut out for us, coming up with some more for next year as well. But we're really looking forward to Rogue One Radio coming back in 2021 and having all you folks hang out with us and talk to us in this new format that we started doing. And also, I really want to thank Charlie for stepping in and being my co-host.
Absolutely, man. It's been a blast so far. We've been doing this for the last couple of months or so. And yeah, I'm ready to hit the ground running in 2021 and get a lot more content in and just talk some Star Wars and get some good stories.
We're going to have a lot to talk about because we got a lot of books coming out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for coming and listening to us, and thanks for listening to the show, and come back next week for our year in review. This has been Rogue One Radio, and may the Force be with you.
Have a great night.